Hello and welcome to this webinar on the military simulation product called MILSIM from C4I Consultants. It is a constructive simulation that provides realistic planning and training for all military commanders and staff. What it is like many constructive simulations, it's a joint capable constructive simulation that allows decision makers in the military to make plans, deliver training events using realistic time, space, and entities. So improving the overall planning and training capability of headquarters, staff, their commanders, and the command team. It's a flexible and scalable system. It deploys on Windows systems, whether they be Windows desktops or laptops, so therefore it's deployable anywhere in the world reasonably quickly and easily. It's a very versatile capability. It's like many constructive simulations. It does all of the military operations. MILSIM does an awful lot more. It does all of the joint aspects. It also does all of the engineering. It does medical, it does logistics. And of course, it's got a brand new versatile Esri runtime GIS capability so that we can ingest any digital mapping at all, whether that be satellite imagery, whether that be military mapping, whether that be street maps or any other mapping capability. And one capability that MILSIM has is that it's designed as a C2 system so that it can be plugged into any military C2 system, so the command and control systems, and it can stimulate it. So instead of having to have all of your live assets out on the ground or in the air on the water, reporting back their position situation, we can actually stimulate that scenario. So we create the scenario in a military simulation and then plug that straight into the C2 system to allow commanders and decision makers to actually see real battle group or real brigade or real air unit or real fleet or task group moving in their command and control system so they can actually start to understand the situation better. And the benefits of using a tool are that you can visualize the situation very, very clearly on the map using map symbology and military symbology so that you understand exactly where everything is, and you can see it, you can work together collaboratively to build your plans, you can test your plans, and then you can actually use those in real training events or real operational events. It's scalable. It doesn't have to just be the units that you've got here. It's able to play all forces, all agencies, other government departments, non-government organizations, and other host nation organizations. It enhances your communications because it enhances your ability to collaborate together, talk together, send the right messages together, use the right protocols, use your radios as necessary, and all your reports and returns. Because you're collaborating in this planning exercise with more people and more access, then it reduces your cost. You're not doing this multiple times. You can do it once. You can then distribute it. You can send the after-action review, which is a full breakdown afterwards, on to other people to look at the plan, validate their plan, their role in it, and practice and teach from it. And so it also allows you to learn your techniques, tactics, and procedures in a realistic but, of course, safe environment. And it allows, as a simulation, where you can speed it up to multiple times speed, up to 24 times speed. You can run through a whole host of courses of action. So if you've got a plan, you've got an order, you can then run through and see what the outcome of that order is and if you actually achieve your mission. If you don't, then you can run through different courses of action and understand which is the best outcome for that course of action. So that's a very, very quick introduction. What I'll do now is I will go straight to the simulation. And what you see on the screen is MILSIM 6, our latest version of military simulation product. Two aspects of it. It's one screen. The large chunk on the right-hand side is the map, and then on the left-hand side you have the unit organization or other information, whether that be a drawing overlays, my mapping, or any bookmarks that I've made. So this is your force data and your situational awareness, and this is your visualization. The mapping, then obviously you can see a whole world, and the reason we show a whole world is because actually we can be running this simulation anywhere in the world because it's portable and deployable, but the imagery that we use is readily available online, whether that be Google, Bing, Esri, or any other online source, or offline if you're working without connectivity to the internet. You can use your own data sources, your own mapping. You can use online cache mapping for the particular event. And the important thing about it being the whole world is because in a larger scale operation, then you won't be working just in the confines necessarily of a small boundary. You could be working with coalition allies who are flying aircraft in from a different location to support the particular operation. You could be working with naval assets who are patrolling lines of communication, and you could be working with multiple different forces fighting the same enemy on different fronts. So that's the reason we use the whole world. And what it means is we can use online imagery, so it's geo-rectified, so it's immediately apparent when we blend it with information coming in from GPS that there's no offset. And there's no requirement for us to have a specific terrain database. We just use the actual imagery, satellite imagery and mapping that's available to you and anybody else. It's important to note that I don't just have to have the satellite imagery. I can very, very quickly and easily add in any other mapping data. You can see I've just clicked on Add More Maps, and it'll come in any of the formats listed here for my local sources. Or if I wish to start looking for online sources, then I can very easily, quickly add new map layers in. So what you can see on the map is a whole host of symbols, which you should understand. Obviously, they are NATO APP6 Alpha or 2525 Charlie symbology, but we've also put some icons on of dismounted infantry, just so that we can highlight that you can use symbology and iconography as well. We have a whole host of assets, obstacles, specific control lines, and graphical overlays, and you'll see just there is obviously an artillery fire mission location. So very, very quickly and easily able to see and portray the assets on the map. Now these assets are obviously all within the unit org, and I just found that you can actually start to see my unit org. I have blue forces and red forces in here. That's because I'm a single station currently. This is the HICON, this is the planning, the instructor station, so I can see all of the assets, both visually and within the list. And it's very, very easy to scroll up and down, and you'll see that I've got a number of them expanded, and if I want to zoom in on that, I can zoom in on these assets, and I can start to minimize assets, or I can select them on the map, and I can group them or ungroup them, and I can interrogate the unit org for them. But actually, how easy is it to build this? Because obviously it's a demo, it's all set up. So let me just show you. Very easy to add, let's say, a new unit, demo unit. I add that in, and it'll put it at the bottom of my, and you'll see that it's an unknown at the moment, so I can very, very quickly assign it to friendly, and it's now blue, but it's got nothing in it, so I'd need to add some entities, some vehicles in, and let's say from our extensive, very, very detailed database, I've just typed in Challenger or CHA, and I'm going to add in some Challenger main battle tanks. I want to add in 3 of them. Okay, so my demo unit now has 3 Challenger main battle tanks. Now, we are an entity-based simulation, so where I added a single Challenger, it also has its crew, its commander, driver, gunner, loader, the weapons for the platform, the ammunition, any other specific equipment, because the database, as I say, is fully populated. So if I look into the vehicle database, and again, I can, let's type in LAV, and I'll pull up a LAV3. You'll see a very, very complex database window. which has all of the characteristics of the platform, all of its protection, mobility, its crew, and whether how much fuel. I can change and modify and adjust its movement capabilities. So if we have an up-armored lav, it may be slower, but it may have a detrimental effect on other terrain. So it may not work as well as it used to in the brush environment or the deep snow. But I can also add equipment to it. It's a complex database. Not only does it have the vehicles and the entities and the equipment and the weapons and the ammunition, but it also has all of the damages. So if I wish to start to play all the logistics and the resupply and the repair aspects, as is critically important in all military operations, then I can put that damage in, and then I can add in parts that are required for that damage and repair assets which are required for that asset. And the same goes for personnel. So if I look at the personnel database, I have a whole extensive array of personnel already preloaded, and I can open those up. I can edit their SOPs, their equipment, their image. I can change the weight. If I need to put in specific names, I can do. I can map it to DIS so that we can actually interoperate with any other simulation. I can change the experience. I can actually affect his damage at the start. I can give him equipment and stuff to carry. So very, very extensive, and I'll just show you one other part. We can add in injuries, so let's say a penetrating wound, and I can add in the severity of it, time to death without treatment, how long it's going to take to treat it, what vehicles, supplies, and personnel are required to treat it. So it's a really extensive database that is involved in this. It ships unclassified, so all of the information that's in there is as you could find in Jane's or online, and so you can adjust all of that to classify as necessary. Now, no military situation happens without a MESL or a main events list or a master scenario events list, and our simulation has a built-in master scenario events list, so that we can automatically inject information, whether that be tactical information or warning orders, whether it be information from news, whether it be information from sources. And it can come in as an email or an SMS. It can come in as a military report, whether that be a spot report, whether it be a sighting report. It can come in with specific message formats, depending on what you use, or it could come in over the radio, either the voice over IP radio that we have built into the software, or over your own radios. And the good thing about MILSIM, as I said before, is it was designed as a C2 system, so it can be plugged straight into command and control systems and stimulate them so you can get the right message format. Now, what we've got here is a blue force who are moving from the southwest of the screen up to the northeast, a small pocket of dismounted insurgents with insurgent vehicles in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the simulation controls. I'm going to press play, and you'll see the other controls here. There are a number of stations that could join, but I'm running in standalone, so I'm not going to have anybody playing the enemy, anyone playing friendly, and anyone playing unknown. And you can see that the simulation is now running, and things are starting to move. The 1x up here tells me it's running in 1 times speed, so if I want it to run faster, I can just increase the speed. And you'll notice that if I click on any of these entities, you see the waypoints they've already got, because I've already given them some tasks and missions. I can click on these and then very easily change any of this by just right-clicking. I can delete their waypoints, I can set waypoints, I can change their SOPs. Instead of firing one shot per engagement, I can make sure they fire all until all ammunition is gone. Now, things are running quite quickly, so I'll slow it down slightly now. And you see, I'm getting these messages, the information injects coming in. I have a notification which is telling me that I've got a message, it's the warning order. I see that the warning order is here, so I can now I can open that up. so I can start to plan and prepare for the next phase of the operation, which happens to be Operation Calgary Diamond. As you see, the simulation's running, the entities are engaging each other, and they'll grey out and be destroyed as necessary or injured. And so there's a degree of tasks that they will do themselves. You can see the fire lines, and obviously I've already set up the indirect fire, and you can probably hear the weapon fire. And if I hover over an entity, you can see the current status, whether it's moving, whether it's stationary, where it's heading, and what speed it's traveling at, ammunition and fuel status. The good thing about any simulation is you can, on the fly, pull up any of the information. So I can pull up a spot report straight away and start to see what was seen where, what was engaged by whom, where. I can start to look at the casualties. I can start to look at my logistics. I can very, very quickly, easily change task. I want this one to move. I can set whether I want it to fire within rules of engagement, and then if I'm giving it waypoints, I can just click those waypoints, so I can now make it go somewhere else. New waypoints, it's going to start to move, and if I want to look at what it can see, very, very easily, click on its line of sight, and you can see I've selected the unit line of sight, so I can now show you exactly what I can see, where I can see, and I can click on any other entity and see what they can see. So I can look at my intervisibility, I can look at my arcs, so that I can confirm that I can see where I'm going. So let's just turn that off. But likewise, if I'm sitting here, I can look at the ranges of these particular weapons. So you can see that most of the dismounted infantry are within range. Oh, and as I'm talking here, you can see the artillery mission is coming in. It gives me the artillery mission. The effects come in, and for the time set. Go back to the weapon range. You can see the different weapons that I have, the range of them. So again, very useful and easy to show and see what's going on. If I go back to the unit org, you can now see that vehicles have been destroyed, their fuel has been degraded, ammunition has been degraded, and so I can check my status either in the unit org or I can see it on here. Again, more information coming in, notifications coming in. I didn't acknowledge this because I was busy in the firefight and talking on the radio, but I now know, all right, okay, so enemy insurgents identified. Well, I could have sent that myself because I've been engaged with the enemy. So that's a very, very quick overview of the software. And if I want to have a look at the fire log, I mean, it'll give me who's fired where. Obviously, it's a much more detailed fire log in the after-action review, which once you finish the event, you can save the whole after-action review file, go back, look at everything. It tells you or shows you exactly the visuals, gives you all the ability to see the reports and returns, and look at who fired on whom, who saw whom, whether it was a blue on red, whether it was a blue on blue, whether it was a mobility kill or K kill. So you can do all of the analysis during the after-action review of what happened when, by whom, from whom, and portray it all in the map so that you can actually zoom in and actually see individual entities and see how they did. And you can look at the terrain and see how they were moving tactically, and you can actually start to adjust your plans and educate the operators. So that was a very, very quick run-through of the military simulation by C4I Consultants. Thank you very much for your time.